All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Why If Dizzy TV. Today we got a special guest. Somebody who inspires me on the daily. Love to watch his story, see what he has going on. It's been an incredible journey. I wasn't there for the beginning, but I'm here to see the second part of it. So today in studio we got Rudy. What's going on, man?
What's up, David? Good to see you, man.
Man, it's good. I've been excited for this one.
Yeah, me too, man.
I had told you a long time ago that we was gonna do it, but I was kind of like taking a good little break, doing different things. But now we're here.
Yeah. Glad to be here, man.
Man, I'm glad you're here because I think the people can learn a lot from you. So I seen, on your Instagram when you post your before and afters, and I've always wanted to ask, what was the change that turned you from Rudy before to basically the Hulk now? Like, what was the big change that caused that?
Yeah, man, a lot of times you see before and afters, man.
Mm-hmm.
You really think that a lot of people see, hey, that's a journey. It was one split decision that happened, man. But for me, it's kind of been a long road ahead that kind of got me to where I am today. I've always, not to go too far back, but I graduated from college, and fitness has always been something I aspired to. I was passionate about. I was a collegiate athlete. Played baseball. It's funny the Rangers are playing tonight, so baseball's one of the sports I've always loved, and gave me an opportunity to go play college baseball, and so I was always an athlete. And when I was in college, man, I realized that fitness was a passion of mine, and I got out of school, and I knew I was one of those lucky people that knew what he wanted to do for a living. I was like, hey man, I want to help people get fit. I want to help people change their lives through fitness. And so for me, fitness has always been a foundation, both from the athletic standpoint, but also for developing myself personally.
Yeah.
I was a very shy, skinny kid growing up, man. I'm sure a lot of us can relate. We have a story, man, where when we grew up, had certain insecurities, and fitness is kind of one of those things that helped me with my confidence. And it was always a really strong foundation for me. So as I grew up as a fitness professional, I took a job entry level in sales at Valley Total Fitness.
I've heard good things about their sales program.
Yeah, man. That you learned a lot about how to, sales is a funny thing. It comes with a little bit of a stigma that sales is kind of could be pushy.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned about fitness, man, I've never shied away from helping people get started on a fitness journey, man. If I was gonna sell anything, it's gonna sell fitness and helping somebody get better. So
because it's beneficial.
Yes, absolutely. So you're pushing something that's gonna help the individual. But for me, man, I got started out of colleges back in 2002, long time ago. Yeah, 21 years ago, and. I grew up in the business, man. I still remember the first gentleman that I signed up on a membership and helped him get started. His name was Terry. He was 74 years old. He wanted to be a bodybuilder. It was so crazy because he was older, man, but he was so pumped up about it. It's like he wanted to build muscle, man. But I showed him around the gym. He was super excited, and I knew from that point I was like, man, I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. So for me, it was always something I was passionate about, man. But We'll get kind of into the story, but I was kind of in that environment, man, where I was like kind of a work hard, play hard mentality.
Yeah.
And man, we used to grind, and then we used to, have fun too. And fast forward, man, 20, almost 19 years later, I find myself, man, I'm like. Most people will see me, they're like, oh, Rudy, you're still pretty fit, man. But obviously, if you see my before pictures, man, I was up there pushing some weight, man. I was on vacation. Yeah,
you still look pretty strong. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. You look very strong in your pictures. But, compared now, you look like.
Yeah. So, like, being, kind of like you appear to be fit, man. But my lifestyle was very far from that, man. I was probably 20, 30 pounds overweight. But the thing that people didn't see behind the scenes, man, was what I was dealing with on the emotional and mental side. I was dealing with anxiety. I was you know, a lot of people, you know, I've shared this, maybe have heard my story, but I was battling with alcohol addiction.
Oh wow.
You know, at a very, you know, most people probably wouldn't even classify it as alcohol addiction, man. I was like anybody else. I loved it to partake, go out on the weekends. You know, I'd come home after work, maybe go hang out with some friends, have some beers for the game, man. But for me, what it was is I was in that constant cycle of like self-medicating, man. You know, when you're stressed out, you lean on that, you know, and I think it's a lot of our culture too, that everything that we do, it involves alcohol. You know, it's just kind of the way society's kind of been created for us. So
yeah, it's commercials, every store you go to, even Six Flags, Chuck E. Cheese, everywhere. You know, and really, if you think about it, you know, things are going well. Let's go celebrate. Let's go have some drinks. You go hang out with some family. I mean, really, especially in the Hispanic culture, man, you go hang out with family, you're really throwing down. For sure.
So
it don't matter if the baby's turning 5 or somebody's turning 70.
Some of the biggest parties are like, you know, baby 1-year-old birthday parties, you know? So it's kind of a cultural thing, man. So I kind of grew up in that, and, you know, I found myself at a point, and you asked me, what was it? You know, for the longest time, I battled two sides, man. I was really into fitness. I was really into driving, helping motivate people to be their best. And then I was also living on this side where, man, I was just, you know, alcohol, partying, going out all the time. So I was kind of living two lifestyles, man, and it was polarizing. And then, you know, I had a moment, you know, January 2019, you know, I had a moment, man, where, you know, I kind of hit that proverbial rock bottom, man, and you know, I kind of realized, like, I had what, you know, most people call it an epiphany. You know, I started thinking, like, it was crazy because I just literally in a moment, I like flash forward 10 years, and I thought, what would my life be in 10 years? And, man, it really broke my heart, man, to see where I was going to end up if I kept going down that road. And, like, in an instant, man, I realized that I had to make a change.
And I think that's something that's like, especially in society now where we have everything's fast, everything's now. You don't care about the future. People lack like the long term, like, what is this gonna do for my life, like years down the line, you know?
100%.
Like what is this? Yeah, it's only a burger after dinner every night, but you multiply that times 5 years, that's like 40 pounds right there.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, a lot of people, man, you think about it, you know, think about like, hey, when were you in your best shape? Most people are like, hey, man, I was in high school. And most people are, you know, you're talking about my age, you're 25 years removed. And most people are like 30, 40, 50 pounds over what they weighed. And, you know, some of us develop, we grow, you know, but for the most part, most people would say, man, I'm not in the best shape. And it just happens over time. It's making those small decisions. And you don't realize it. Like you said, we take short-term gratification, and we basically allow ourselves to indulge on certain things that we don't realize that we're sacrificing so much of our health over the long term, man.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah, we're basically financing our short-term pleasures for the long term.
For real.
Yeah, and I found myself at that point, man. You know, 39 years old. I'm over, you know, well overweight. You know, and somebody that was so passionate about fitness, man. I looked in the mirror. I'm like, dude, this is not where you're supposed to be. So that was kind of the moment, man, for me that really turned things around. I said, you know what? I'm gonna really go all in on that style, on that side of my lifestyle, because it was something I was really passionate about, and I thought, you know, if I'm gonna really not only for myself but to inspire and motivate others, I got to go all in on that. So that was the thing that really got me headed down the right track.
And I know you mentioned alcohol a few times. Well, how do you feel now about it?
You know what? I think everybody has their thing. You know, for me, it just happened to be alcohol was the one vice that I really didn't have a lot of control over.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to think that I did. You know, there was, you know, I wasn't the type that I'd have beer in the fridge and I wouldn't touch it. But it was something about socializing.
Yeah.
When I'd go out in that environment, man, once the party started, it was over.
Yeah.
I was partying to the, to the last drink was being poured. If there was a party going on, it was just something I just got so accustomed to. And like a lot of us, I think we're just socially programmed to where it's man, alcohol is probably the one thing that people think you're weird or strange if you don't do it.
Yeah, I've gotten that because there's times where like I'll take breaks, not because because I have like anything that I need to stay away from, but just because I don't necessarily enjoy it unless it's like a party type thing or anything. Right. But even when it starts to cost money, I'm like, nah, I'm good, and I'll just stay away from it from long periods of time. And every time I be like, nah, I'm good. I don't drink. People be like, what's wrong with you? Are you alcoholic?
You get
I'm
that
like,
response,
nah, I'm just don't. I want to wake up early tomorrow. Like, I got stuff to do.
I want to be productive, right?
Yeah.
For the longest time, it was I used to go through periods like that too. Obviously being in the health and fitness, there were periods of time where I really buckled down. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna get myself in shape for, hey, I got this trip coming up or something going on. Yeah. So I really lock it down. So I'd go through phases where I wouldn't drink, and I'd run into the same thing. People would ask me, man, what's wrong? You okay?
Yeah.
And it's just natural for I think in our culture for people to feel that way about it, but the reverse side about it is I think we're so used to having that crutch. When we go out, honestly, most people don't know how to act unless they have a beverage.
Yeah.
It just takes the edge off. They feel more comfortable. They don't have to feel those questions. So that was probably the biggest challenge, man. Whenever I first decided to stop drinking, man. I've been sober since January 6th of 2019. So it'll be 5 years this coming January, man. So I'm
5 years since 2019. That's insane.
It's a long time, man. And for most people that know me, they, I had my brother one time tell me, he's like, man, if you would have bet me $1 million that you would have stopped drinking, I would have taken that bet.
Damn.
So like, just people know me, man. It was just so normal for in that lifestyle,
Yeah. And I think it's like it's kind of like leads to like a bigger problem that we have just in general is everybody's always trying to drown out real life. They're always trying to medicate. They'll either smoke some, either watch their phone all day, scroll all day. Everybody's trying to drown away from real life.
You're trying to like avoid something, and that's the biggest thing that I had to really accept is just dealing with certain emotions, experiencing certain things. I mean, I was 39 years old, and there were certain things that I would do that I had never experienced being completely sober. Going to celebrations, man, because you still have to live life. You still have to go around people that are still in that lifestyle. And that was a little bit of I wouldn't say of a challenge. I think for me, I was lucky that I had gotten to a point where it was just such an important decision for me that I had a lot of conviction about it, and people ask me all the time, have you ever craved like having a drink? And I was like, man, you know what, my suffering became so greater than any benefit or reward that I felt that I got from it.
Yeah.
So once you get to that point, man, there's no questions asked. But like you said, I think that a lot of people they try to numb out certain parts of life, and the thing of being sober that's really important is that you have to deal with emotions,
good and bad,
but over time, man, you get to really you build a callus for certain things, man. You know what, my life's been so much better since I made that decision for myself. But it's not like it's been easy. Life still has its challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
We still face adversity. But I feel like a very different person now. I feel more grounded. And I think that's the thing that sobriety's been for me. I'm I still go out with friends, and they drink. Man, they're more uncomfortable than I am. They'll be like, hey, man, you okay? No, I'm good. Have a good time, It's a very personal decision. I think everybody has to evaluate, what in life they want. I just realized that for me to be the best version of Rudy Rivera, that I had to give that up. And I think for most people, you have to figure out what that is. Like, for me, it was alcohol. For somebody, it could be something else, man. Some people...
For me, it's junk food.
Yes, it could be food. You know, some people are stuck in a relationship or they're in a job that literally does the same thing that alcohol was doing to me. It just takes, I mean, it pretty much just takes away who they really are, man. And that's the biggest decision. You know, find out what it is that's holding you back for being the very best version of yourself.
And it's crazy that you said the job thing, because I had my recent job, you know, I was doing delivery and stuff. And, you know, everything was cool. I liked it. I liked the hours, everything. But they moved. And I was like, okay, I could deal with this. It's farther, you know, 4 times farther, but it's okay. You know, I could do it because they gave us a raise. But then they started kind of just demolishing us with, like, so much work. And I was like, hey, bro, I'm out of here. And then the week later, had a new job. And a lot of people, they'll just kind of just grind it out and just suffer. And they hate the job. They don't like the pay. And they'll just stay there.
100%. And
it's like, bro, you got to make changes if you don't like where you're 100%. At. Whether 100%. That's weight, relationship, or your job, you know?
Yeah. You know, I think that's such an important thing to realize, man, is that you have to find out what things in your life that you need to eliminate. You know, for one, like, does something, you know, and when I was evaluating this, you know, and I'm talking about, man, for me, the thing that was so detrimental about alcohol, it impacted every aspect of my life, my relationship, my finances. You talked about it, man. One of the reasons that you don't drink is how much it costs. You know, I've been very successful in my career, and I was doing very well for myself, man. But I can go back, and it hurts me to think of how much money I used to blow on just going out, you know, going to the bar and just open up these bar tabs, man. It's like, dude, I think about it, man. And now, you know, I'm much more fiscally responsible. I'm ambitious, very much like yourself. You're thinking about the future and things that you want to do, have more impact. Man, it just hurts, you know. So like, does something bring value to your life? That's the number one question. Does it bring value? The second thing, is it important? So can you do without? Like, is this one thing in your life so important that you can't be without it? The third is it allow you to be the best version of yourself? When you think about that and that metric, you know, whatever that means to you, is this thing bringing out the best in me? And, you know, you start to ask these questions. There's a lot of things that you'll start to question, man, do I really need this in my life? And it could be a person, it could be a job, it could be a vice. You know, and I think the last one, you know, it's funny that these line up. It's an acronym that I kind of thought of. The last one is, does it energize or enhance your life? You know, is this something that actually lifts you?
Gets you going.
Yeah, that really propels you forward, man. So if you see those acronyms, is it valuable? Is it important? Be your best version. Is it enhance your life? That's vibe.
That's a vibe.
That's a vibe, right? So. You know, if you think about things like that and really start to evaluate them along those lines, man, you really start to realize, hey, what's important and what's going to allow you to really propel forward and go after things that are really important to you. So,
man, that's good. I like that.
What
would you say to somebody who, you know, they feel like they need to make the change, but they just don't know how. They don't know where to start. What would you say to somebody like that?
You know, making a change really has to start with yourself. It's a lot of times when we feel like, hey, we're at a point where we want to make a drastic change or something that's really like weighing on us, especially like, say, if it's fitness related, it's just important to realize that it's a long journey, no matter where you are in life. It's a long journey, so it doesn't have to happen overnight. Just take one step at a time. You know, when obviously for me, fitness has always been something that I've had rooted in my life. It's been something it's been important to me. So I had that foundation. So Just take a step, man. If you, for instance, if you don't know how to start working out, find a trusted resource that can help you. Hey, how do I start working out? Maybe work with a trainer. We offer personal training services that are available online, so you can work out anywhere from home, go to the gym, or we even offer one-on-one personal training as well. So find somebody that you trust that can show you how to work out, give you some guidance and direction. Get around people that are doing the things that you want, that you look forward to. But I think for the most important thing is just keep it simple. One thing, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to change everything.
Yeah.
Just find one thing that's going to be a positive step. And what you'll find is you'll create momentum. And that momentum is really going to be the key for the long term.
Like dominoes.
Yeah, 100%, man. If you make one small change, it's going to lead to another. Like, you don't have to go hardcore. Yeah. Look.
Some people can,
Some people
if you're
can.
David Goggins,
Yeah, you got the David Goggins of the world. And it's funny because, when I was going through my transformation, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, was one of the first books that I read, man. I hadn't run. Yeah. I've done a couple marathons. I've done a couple Ironman. And I'd never ran more than 6 miles on purpose my entire life. But I think when I started listening to that book, it was on a Monday. I ran 2 miles that first day. By that weekend, I was doing 6 miles. So it's like the David Goggins effect,
Yeah.
But you're not gonna have that consistently over time, man. That's got to be something that you build up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, man. It's very popular to like jump on the 75 hard.
Yeah.
Or do like some drastic thing, but it's not sustainable. I've seen so many people they'll go 75 hard, and then the next thing you know, you don't see anything related to fitness on their entire feed. Yeah. And I say this in jest because social media, man, everybody wants to be, you're proud about the things that you're doing, but hey, I noticed that you quit on day 32 and I hadn't heard nothing from you, so it's like, where you at,
hey, guilty as charged.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why it doesn't have to be extreme. Small steps win the game long term. Because the reality is, man, you don't, like, if your car's not running right and it's not running, doing that a couple of times a year is like, it's like driving your car with jumper cables. You having to jump start it to get to your destination. So just take small steps, little bit at a time. Listen to trusted resources, people that are doing the things that you aspire to do. Put yourself in a good, positive environment. Those are the things that are going to help you long term. And nothing wrong with 75 hard.
It's hard for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really it's a mindset thing. It's really to change that mindset. And let's face it, man, some of us need that. Yeah. Because when you're trying to change, if you're 40 pounds overweight or you're in a lifestyle that you never envisioned yourself to be, it's not going to be easy to get out of that. That's the reason you're in the shape that you are, because all the easy decisions that you made. So you're going to have to do some hard things to get out of it.
And that's what, like, some people say about church too, because they expect, like, they've never been to church. They go one time and they're like, damn, why do I still have temptation? Why do I still feel, like I want to do these bad things and I don't feel like a different person? It's because you spent all your life doing these negative things. Yep. One day here is not going to change you to, be on the other side, to make it simple. Yeah. And for 75 hard, it is hard. And it's not really the working out part that's the hardest. It is like the things that they put for the mental, like the water and making 100%. Sure you're reading every single day. It's just like, damn, all these things every single day. It's a lot of things, but I think, give it a shot if you don't believe us, Yeah. See if you make it to day 5.
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen some people that 4 or 5 days in, they fall off. That's the thing. It's about the accountability. There's something I always like to say to myself and it's a mental process. Is that, hey, just follow through on the things that you say you're gonna do. Whatever it is, whether it's getting up early, whether it's, hey, going in and completing a workout. And start small. You know, if you say, hey, I want to get in better shape, let's start by walking. I want to walk 3 days a week. You know, the next week bump it up to 4. You know what, I'm gonna quit eating fast food, you know, or maybe have fast food 1 day a week. So like, start small. But what's gonna happen is over time you'll build some momentum, and that momentum is what's gonna cause that synergy to help you make that more of a lifestyle change, you know, and over the long haul. But yeah, you know, I think, you know, any of those things are fun, you know, but think about it, the big picture. How can you make this sustainable? You know, that was the most important. It's funny because whenever I started, I told myself 3 things. I was like, I'm gonna work out every day. Just make a commitment. And there, I can't tell you how many times, even now, you know, most people, they say, man, he's hardcore, man. He's always working out, man. But I can't tell you, just last week, on my routine, it was a 2-mile run.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, man, how long it took me to talk myself into it. Like, I did not feel like doing it, man. It was just, so I deal with that. Even though this is a habit that I've manufactured and I've done so often, it's still hard for me to do it. But there's never been a time that I've actually pushed through and completed a workout that I regretted it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know, and that's the reward. You know, it's being able to say, hey, I did what I said I was gonna do. If you do that consistently enough, regardless of what area of life, if you do that consistently enough, that's how you build the confidence, you know, that I think is really going to help you. And that's why I believe fitness is not just about getting in shape, feeling better. It's about how it impacts other areas of your life, man. You know, that's really the foundation of why I started Body Legacy in the first place. It's really help and inspire yourself through like living a fit lifestyle, but how it's going to impact you in other areas.
And I think one of the most important parts that people don't realize is that, yeah, people say you feel better whenever you're more fit, but I don't think they realize like how much of a difference it is. Because I noticed it with myself, because like I said, I used to do delivery, and I started gaining a little weight. And when I would do my deliveries, I would be way more tired. My bones would hurt. And then I started to get back in shape, and I'd be like, damn, this is easy.
Yeah.
My back's not hurting, you know. My knees is all right.
Yeah.
And I thought I was getting old, but it was really, I'm just out of shape, you know.
Yep.
And I think that's why so many people, they feel like, oh, I'm too old to do this, too old to do that, because, you know, they look like a pudding cup, you know. Like if we go back, I don't know if you've seen these pictures, like there's old pictures where there's people at the beach and there's not one fat person in sight.
Man, everybody just was way healthier, just in general, you know. Yeah, society's changed a lot, man. There's so many conveniences, just kind of the way we live. Like you said, you alluded to it earlier, is the instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know, we're having to connect. It's so easier to stay connected. We feel like we're connected by technology.
Yeah.
But, you know, back in the day, you used to get together and go out to the park, and maybe the guys would go play touch football over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not doing much of that. We're playing fantasy football. We're hanging out at the house. We're, you know, doing certain things. But yeah, a lot of it's changed, man. But the thing is, and it's so true, is age doesn't matter. You know, I've been fortunate to see it and witness it, being in the fitness industry. Man, I've seen men that are in their 70s, man, that you're like, man, that's impressive.
Jacked.
You're like, damn. And you know what? But you see them work out, and it's no secret to how it's happened. It's just that consistency,
An everyday thing.
they're showing up every day. It's part of the life. And you know, most people that have asked me, you know, I get approached all the time, Rudy, hey, can you help me out? Can you give me a workout? And it's funny because I'm, you know, I have kind of that David Goggins mentality.
Yeah.
Because most people, they want something easy.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, hey, what can I do? What's the minimum can I do to get to where I need to be? But the reality is, man, that the minimum is what's got you to where you are now. You don't need the minimum. You got to go hard. You got to change it. You know, you consider this. Most people would say, hey, if I go to the gym 3 days a week, an hour, that's 3 hours a week that I dedicate to fitness. There's 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
3 hours ain't going to make a dent on your current situation, you know? And so when people ask me, hey, Rudy, what can I do? I give them some tough love sometimes, you know? Because, you know, they say whenever you've made progress or you've changed your life in a certain way, you need to be the person. You need to help the person that you used to be. And the person that I used to be was somebody that let life's excuses and my lifestyle get in my way. So whenever somebody that's in that same situation, I know exactly what to tell them. Yeah. You know?
Because it's what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, it's what I needed to hear.
Well, you needed, not what you wanted.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear it. You know, like if somebody would have told me, my friends would have said, hey, Rudy, look, man, you're drinking too much, bro. Look, I know you're into fitness. I know you somewhat take care of yourself, man, but you could be so much more. You could be way greater. You could accomplish so much more if you would just quit letting that get in your way. If one of my friends would have told me that, I would probably, I'd have been in my feels. Yeah. But I don't know how long afterwards, but I would have it would have reflected on it, and I would have said, you know what, you're right. It would have hit because it was the truth. Yeah. And sometimes we don't want to hear the right things, but the reason why sometimes I'm hard on some folks that approach me, it's like, man, I don't want to talk to the person that needs a coddling, that needs a, you know, the soft hand, or you know, needs a little, you know, kind of to tiptoe. I'm gonna talk to the person that's gonna show up every day, that's gonna be there that when it gets hard. Because you know what, everybody has that in them. We all do. Yeah. We've all been through a situation where we faced adversity and made it through. We've all had that tiger, the eye of the tiger that's gotten through a tough situation. Yeah. Excuse me. And that's who I want to speak to. Yeah. Because that person is going to help you pull out of the situation that you're in. So, yeah, man. So, you know, sometimes it can come, you know, but like, you know, my fiance will tell you, man, she's seen me be pretty hard on some people that I care about. But it's all coming from a loving place. Yeah. But it's also like, I'll be the first one to show love and compassion if I know your effort's there. Yeah. You know, so.
But I think that speaks to another factor that is kind of lost. There's not really too many straight talkers anymore. Everybody's always trying to like find the soft, nice way to say it, the politically correct way to say the thing. And that's kind of like the thing that's got us where we are now.
I agree.
It's okay if you're fat. You know, it's okay if you eat all these burgers. You know, love is love. You're like, there's no body shame, you know. Like, there was a reason why shame was a thing, you know. Yeah. There's a reason why dads tell their sons, get the hell up, what you doing, you know. And not like, hey, come on, son, get up. Don't you want to go to work? You know, that I feel like that's something that we've lost. And there's not too many people who will just tell you, like, hey, no, I'm not cool with what you're doing right now.
Yeah. You know what? I agree. I completely agree. I think that we have to be honest. And it's not just about, man, like, I'm not just going to say something to someone to be rude.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But I have people, especially if I care about you, I need to be honest with you, man. And, you know, I've had some situations over the past 5 years since I've kind of been through my transformation is that I've been honest. And the reason I've gone down this path is like, man, I wish I would have had people stand up and tell me the truth the way that I needed to hear it. Like I said, I may have not appreciated it at that moment. Yeah. But I don't ever want to walk, especially for people that I love, people that I care about, and their life means a lot to me. I don't ever want to leave something unsaid and regret not saying it. So like some of those conversations, man, you have to have them. And I've had I've lost a few friendships temporarily because of that, because maybe I've said some things that probably didn't get received well, but over the long term it ended up working out because I think, you know, maybe they realized it. So,
and I think that's the one thing that will help people grow. You know, if somebody's like, hey, it's not cool, because speaking from experience, my girl, she was raised up in a house where they put feelings above facts, and now they're to a point where all the kids have become adults, and they're kind of like upset with the mom because they have to tiptoe around her feelings to just tell her the truth.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can't just have a part-time job when you have 5 kids and you pay all the bills by yourself. Maybe you should go. And she's like, I can't believe you're saying that to me. And there should never be a reason why a kid has to tiptoe around an adult. You know what I mean?
100%.
But we definitely need more of that. But speaking of, your business, what are some things that people underestimate when they're starting their own business?
Man, I've been fortunate. I've gotten to be in the industry for a long time. I work for a lot of large corporations. Bally's used to be one of the top companies in the industry. I work with 24 Hour Fitness and a few other large health and fitness companies. So I've been fortunate. I got to be in the business and understand that. But for a lot of people that go out and venture out and start a business on their own, they may be doing something that they've never really had that much experience in. They're passionate about it, but they don't know the ins and outs of the business.
Yeah.
Man, that learning curve is pretty steep.
Yeah.
Especially being an entrepreneur. And man, there's just the amount of courage that it takes to go out and do something and take a risk.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? If you're inspired to do something that you feel like you're passionate about, and you want to make a living out of it, not just a hobby, something that you can actually turn into something that's that could support you or your family, it takes a lot of courage, man.
Yeah.
And let's face it, there's a lot of people out there that they want you to succeed, but they don't want you to do better than them. You know that. You've heard that a lot. So you're gonna see it, man, and you'll see people that you thought were in your corner that slowly disappear, man. They're nowhere to be found, and you'll see strangers that they don't know anything about you, man. And they'll be your biggest supporters.
That's true.
And
why do you think that is, though?
You know what? I think it's a lot of reasons, man. I think there's some people in your lives that they've never succeeded in anything in their lives.
Yeah.
So they don't have the mindset that allows them to see what's possible. So they're stuck in like, man, my life's just never gone well. I've never succeeded. I've never aspired to do something and achieved it. So they don't have that capacity to see an idea blowing up. So like when they see somebody going after a dream like that, they're always thinking like, and you may see them as haters, but they're not. They just don't have the capacity to believe that. They just have never experienced it in their own lives, So I think that's a part of it. The other part, and this is kind of weird to even think about, there's people that love you, and they see you going after something to take a risk, and they're like, man, hey, Dave, be careful, man. Don't you think you should just get us something more secure, something they can provide? And they don't say that from a bad place. They're not saying like, hey, I don't believe that you'll be successful. They say it because they care about you. They're protectors. They're the ones that just want the best for you. They don't want you to fall on your face. Yeah. They don't want to see something bad happen to you. So they tell you these things out of love, and they just don't realize it. So you have a little bit of that. And then, there's just some people that naturally just don't want to see haters. They just don't want to see you succeed, man. Because like I said, they may want to, they may say that they want you to be successful, but they don't want you to have more success than them. So.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out. Because for sure, like, when it comes to like this podcast and stuff, there's people who I thought I was friends with, and they don't do nothing. They don't show no likes, they don't comment, nothing. But people that I've met, like you, Jose, you just different people. I'm down to come on. Yeah, give you likes and just like show me more love than anybody. Man. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how that works out. And when I realized, I was like, damn. They know me all my life, and they don't give one like. Yeah. And I'm sure that they're peeping. They're looking out. Kind of.
Yeah. It's funny how that is, man. And that's part where you kind of realize like, hey, who you get to choose who you allow to be in your circle. And sometimes, man, it could be somebody that you know for years. And I'm super blessed. I have some people in my life, man, that I've known growing up, man, and they're like such huge supporters of me and what I'm up to. And then I've had some people that I've just met, man, and you know the fitness community is a beautiful thing because you have people that have very similar stories like mine, or you know it could be a grandmother that's never worked out in her life, and now, man, she's gotten in the best shape of her life, and she's able to, you know, keep up with her grandkids. It's just so inspiring to see some of in the people that I've met. It's unbelievable, man. So my circle of influence, the people that I know and I've gotten to meet is a tremendous group of people. But also, you know, the nucleus, the people that I've had around me, man, has been I've been fortunate, you know. But I get to be selective, man. I get to decide who I let in, you know, because you know it's never you can never say this enough, man. The people that you're around constantly, they're gonna impact how your life turns out. Yeah. So be very selective of who you allow in and who you give a lot of stock to when it comes to their opinion and what they say or think about you.
Yeah, that's true. Because some people just might say something just to bring you down.
Yeah. No, it's, man, just think about this, man. Say you have an idea, you know, like, hey, when I was in the inspiration phase, when I was coming up with my business plan, I had this grand idea, and you know, be careful who you share your passions and your inspiration to, because somebody might not be in that right mindset, and just like that, man, it's like a little flickering flame, man. It could go out just as quickly as it started. And you know, sometimes big dreams, it takes a lot of momentum. It takes a lot of sweat, blood, tears. And if you give it to the wrong person, they could just completely deflate you and kill that before you even get started, man. So, be very careful who you share your inspiration with, man, because it's fleeting.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I was gonna say is, how do you feel about, you know, like how everybody is now like kind of like a celebrity and everybody just has a brand now, but it's just, I think it's like, it's good in two ways because it gets people, you know, chasing after one thing, but also now everybody feels like, oh, I'm too cool for that. No, I can't associate with him. It's gonna hurt my brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, you know what? I think over time you'll see, you know, the cream, I guess they say, rises to the top. You'll see, you know, one thing that I really appreciate in people is authenticity. You know, you can see sometimes who's really down, who's a down to earth person, who's willing to help. I've seen people that are super successful, and they're in the same spaces that I'm in, you know, and they're so willing to help you out, man. They'll give you advice, they'll tell you things to watch out for, and those are the type of people that I want to roll with, man. Yeah. You know, that's the thing about the world. It's so abundant.
Yep.
There's so much opportunity. Like, my success does not take away from your success. So I don't necessarily mind other people getting after it, you know, because I like to pride myself in like, hey, man, I'm gonna outwork most people that I'm around. So it's cool if you're in the same space, man. At some point, we're gonna come head to head, and I feel like I got an advantage because of my work ethic. Yeah. So I don't mind it, but I can really appreciate when people are authentic, man, and you could really feel like you say, you know, they're mutually supportive. Yeah. You know, so, and I've been fortunate, man. I still have a lot of contacts and connections in this industry in particular where I could reach out and say, hey, man, can I get some help with this? And they're always willing to extend a helping hand.
Yeah. That's, you know, it brings me to one of my favorite books. Actually, it might be top 5. It's The Go-Giver. Have you ever heard of The Go-Giver?
Yeah.
So basically, the main objective of the book is to get you to understand that you got to give first before you receive. You can't always be out looking, oh, give me that. Oh, he needs to give me this. Oh, I can't. You know, you got to show love to people first before you try to get something back. You know, and that's my favorite type of people. They always just, man, I love what you do, you know.
100%.
There's some genuine people out here. You just got to find them.
Yep.
And they're usually, once you start hanging around like the right people, they're going to be all right there because, they all come together.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
100%, man. I think in my career when I first started, I was a salesperson, and it was just obviously that mentality to go out there and just get yours, man, just grind it out. But I started realizing, man, the more successful that I became is when I started helping people, or it took somebody helping me to build my career. And when I got the first opportunity to become a manager, that was one of the things that helped me be successful. It's like, man, the more I can help my team and the people that work with me, it's gonna make me better.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been a key to my success, man. Is just going out and helping others be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And it's helped me, to succeed. So
Yeah. Let me ask you, if there was one person that you could choose, either dead or alive, to have, a dinner with, who would you pick and why?
man, that's always a great, question to ask. There's people historically that you'd like to go back in time and just pick their brain, man. But for me, I think one man that's always been a tremendous impact and influence on me is my grandfather. He passed in 2004, and my family moved here from Nicaragua during the revolution.
Yeah.
So I was about 5 years old when we moved here. But my grandfather, man, he was a farmer. He's a rancher from Nicaragua, man.
Yeah.
He had cattle. They made cream, queso fresco, and crema. They made it there, and so he actually, we moved our family here to Duncanville, Texas, and a couple years after we lived here, my grandfather, my father, and my uncles, they were all working at factories. But a couple years after they moved to the U.S., they went out to West Texas, or East Texas, excuse me, and bought some land and got some cattle.
Yeah.
And an immigrant from Nicaragua, man, he bought some head of cattle.
Yeah.
They were doing that here,
Sheesh.
And so what's funny is that he went to an auction, didn't speak no English. And he met a man and kind of just in broken English communicated with him how to put a bid on a cow, and he bought his first cow, and that got him started, man. So my point, it would be him, because man, I didn't appreciate him at the time as much as I do now.
Yeah.
But just the amount of courage that it took to come over here and to be willing to go out and put his family first and go out there and aspire to have a dream and have more for his family really is inspirational to me. And if I could go back, and obviously, man, him and my father, they came to the U.S. They didn't get to become citizens, and I got to become a U.S. citizen 4 years ago, which was one of the biggest
congrats,
things.
Man.
It was one of the biggest accomplishments, man, that I've had in my life, man, because they both came here to provide for a better life for our family, and they didn't get to fulfill that. So getting to do that was amazing. But I'd love to talk to him, man, and just have dinner with him, and man, to me, just the way he lived life was definitely inspiring to me, man. I'd love to get his perspective now, being older, and kind of getting to talk to him, having a conversation with him is probably one of the things I would cherish the most, I think, out of anybody.
And that's crazy, because that's a great example. Is if you want it bad enough, you can get it.
Absolutely.
You can make it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and I think a lot of things, like when you're younger, you really just don't appreciate them like that. Like it's not until you get older or you get your own kids or things like that, that's when you're like, damn. Yeah, it was really good back then. Or this person is like, damn, they actually were like hard working and holding it down,
Yeah, for sure.
Damn. So let me ask you, I know you're into personal development.
Yep.
What is your favorite book?
Oh, you know what? A couple books that recently we talked about. Can't Hurt Me was one of the ones that really resonated with me, and the reason why is because it was at a point in my life where I was at a crossroads, man, about where I was in life, and who I knew I could be. that was probably the hardest thing to face when I was 39, suffering from alcoholism,
Yeah.
not feeling like I'd achieved the things that I thought I would at that point in life. So if you know Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, that was really what his whole book was about, man. His own personal transformation. So that's one of my favorite books because of the point in life where I actually came across it.
Yeah.
And it actually became like, you know, I had the spark to change, but that book actually just like lit the fire that got me to really take that step, man, and move forward. But once I started my journey to kind of becoming the, you know, like I said, the best version of myself, I started realizing how important it was to do things that I've always aspired to do. You know, I decided to do an Ironman, and
how was that?
Man, it was crazy.
And for the people that don't know, explain like what are some of the things that you have to do in the Ironman.
Yeah, so an Ironman is an endurance race. It starts with a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and then you finish with a 26.2 mile marathon. So it's 140.6 miles. The events, you start in the morning and you have 17 hours to complete it. So you're really just racing against yourself, you know, unless you're like a top athlete, you know, one of the professionals. You really just want to accomplish it. So when I was 17, I saw the first event, and I was like, man, this is unbelievable. It's like the human feat to just complete that is phenomenal. So I'd always had it in my mind. It's like, man, I'd love to do that. So, you know, I wake up, I'm 39 years old, I'm out of shape, you know, for my standard, and, you know, my life's not going the way I wanted it to, and, you know, I decided to make a change, man. I was like, you know what, the one thing that I know is holding me back, alcohol. Made the decision to stop drinking, and 3 months later, I was like, man, like I said, you start small, but then you start building momentum, and then one of the things I said, look, man, if you're really gonna, you know, prove to yourself that you're gonna make a commitment to be the best of yourself, do something that you said you're always gonna do, and that was one of those things. So I decided to do that. So that was, I gave myself 18 months. It was 2019. I was gonna do it in.
So you put like a deadline on it.
Yep. Set a date. Be very clear about that. Set specific goals. Set a date. Set up a game plan. I bought a book about how to become an Ironman, how a training program was. I spent $2,000 on a bike.
Sheesh.
That's a lot of bread for somebody that's never done
for
that.
A bike too.
Yep. I downloaded a couple of audio books. So I gave myself 18 months. I went out and hired a coach, and I just invested into it, man, because I was all in on it. Because what it represented to me was doing something that you said you were gonna do. So I was finally gonna accomplish
a phenomenal feat at that.
Yeah. So I trained for 18 months, and the week before it was set to go off, they canceled it because of COVID.
Oh,
so man, I already had my flight. My bike was already shipped.
Yeah.
And man, it was gut wrenching, man, because you train all that time. So I'm not an Olympic athlete, but I felt like an Olympic athlete, you know, because you train all that time for 4 years for one event, and it got canceled. So like, it was a whole nother year of training. I'm talking about some hard training, man. Like, and for somebody that never ran more than 6 miles ever, to train that hard, like, it was a lot, man. You know, I love, you know, football. You know, I can't tell you how many Sundays I was out at White Rock Lake for training for like 10 hours that day.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of time and dedication that went to it. So trained another year, and finally, November 21st of 2021, I did my first Ironman. So really, really cool, man. Great experience. It's phenomenal. You know, like the accomplishment itself, the race was fun, but really I think the biggest part about it was the training process, man.
It sounds like it took a lot of sacrifice.
It did. But yeah, I think one of the books that I think you said that when it became to start thinking more about like me becoming the person that, and it really inspired me to start my business was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Classic.
Yeah, it's a classic, man. It's one of those books that really it lays out kind of a mindset that I think is really beneficial if you are considering entrepreneurship or just personal growth. It's one of the top books out there, man. It's a classic, like you said.
Yeah, because not only does it kind of just teach you like how you can get rich, but just the mindset behind the thinking of it. Because for me, when I was younger, I was like, bro, I come from not a wealthy family or by any means, and I was like, I'll just be a teacher, a coach, just do something I love. I don't care if I get money because I'll never be rich. And I'm not saying that I'm rich now by any means, but it gave me the mindset like, oh, I can. It's a possibility. People have done it. And because I've never have met anybody who was a millionaire or even 100,000 there or nothing. And that was the one thing that was like, well, I could do it.
Yeah.
If I just tried. But now it's on the journey.
Yeah.
One part that it did do when I was younger, it was like, damn, I got to be a millionaire, but I'm 25. Yeah. All right, I got to be a millionaire. Yeah. And really, once I started doing real estate, I started making a little bit of money. And I realized, oh, I don't have to get to that figure that I put in my head, because once you reach this certain amount, you're comfortable and nothing changes with the more money that you make,
Yeah.
But it's still a goal.
Yeah.
Don't get it's 100%. Still a goal,
Yeah. I think, for a lot of us, man, my mind shifted on what being wealthy is about. It's just about the freedom.
Yeah.
Having the freedom to live your life the way you design it, and doing the things that you appreciate. But I think wealth comes in a lot of forms, man. There's a lot of people that are financially wealthy, but they're not necessarily wealthy in the right ways, man.
In their heart, their morals are terrible.
Yeah, and even physically, man. That's kind of one of the things that, for Body Legacy, for those that don't know, we have a health and fitness company called Body Legacy, and one of the foundations of it is that we believe that everybody has the best version of themselves inside them, and we believe that your health and fitness is the foundation that allows you to be the best version of yourself. And that could be for you, David, obviously a father of two, entrepreneur, businessman yourself. It could be you could be be the best wife that you could be the best husband or entrepreneur or philanthropist. It all starts with taking care of yourself. And for a lot of us, we've always had that. It's kind of a martyr mentality, and most people would justify the decisions that they make that have brought, sacrifice their health, for example. So, I grew up in a culture where our parents would just work themselves to the bone, man. And they're like, you know what, I'm doing this for my family. Yeah. And they'll justify. And even now, I see people that go out that they don't take care of themselves physically. They'll work overtime because, hey, you know what, I'm doing this for my family. But ultimately, you're taken away from your family because you're not taking care of yourself, man.
Yeah.
You're
not sleeping.
Yeah, and you justify that. It's that martyr mentality. Like, hey, I'm doing all this for my family.
I think that's why men used to die super young, in the past, is because it's all on my back. I have to do it for my family. I have to work 2 jobs. I shouldn't sleep because I got to go to the other job. They should eat first, even though I'm the one that's working,
Yeah. No, that's so true. But I think we're starting to realize, man, that there's more to life than just grinding, and this seems a little sinister, but you know what, man, imagine you're working yourself to the bone, and you're thinking, hey, I'm gonna leave my family with all this money, all this wealth that they're gonna live without, once I'm gone. But I guarantee, man, anybody that's ever lost a loved one, regardless of how much money or how many zeros are on that check, they'll trade it in an instant if they can spend just one more day with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that you have to realize, man. It's like, and you know what? You don't have to decide. It doesn't have to be either or. It can be both. You can take care of yourself, man. And that's the thing that we want to inspire people to be their best. Take care of yourself, man. take care of yourself. You can be around longer for your families. Be a better provider. Be a better husband. Be a better business, businessman or employee. You can be way more successful in any venture or any aspect of your life if you have the energy, the enthusiasm, the vitality to go out and get after it, man. And that's kind of one of the things that we want to inspire people to do in the long term.
It's very powerful, man. Any last words for the people?
Hey, man, look, support my boy. Definitely share the show. Appreciate you having us on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, man. And anybody that's looking to change their life and start taking a better approach to their health and wellness, definitely give us an opportunity to help you out, be part of your journey. Body Legacy, mybodylegacy.com. Check us out. But yeah, just keep an eye out for us. We'll be around, and looking forward to helping change some lives for the better.
All right, everybody, peace.